Hi. I'm about to just share a really quick message. I was planning on doing this earlier today. Um been really busy, had a lot to do. How are y'all? How are y'all? I'm gonna send out this notification too because I know some people don't get my notifications. Mm. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this, and if you happen to catch me late, that's okay. Just catch this again later. I see it's 7 people here. What's up to you? To each and every soul here, I really do in my heart hope that you are navigating these currents successfully and effectively, and that's actually what I want to talk about. Because what we are about to be experiencing is a purge with this eclipse energy. Peace, Rob Black Storm. Lalita. Hey, beautiful. Peace and love. So there's a purge coming. And this purge is going to be excavating shit that you have not addressed and maybe need to. Now, I know this is impromptu, but if you ain't new, you know this is how I do, this is how I move, this is how spirit moves, and I listen to that. I don't allow my left brain logic to get in the way of my intuitive gift. And so this is the energy that we are in now, and I'm going to translate that and give you a couple of things that you can be doing that will be very useful for you. Number one, with all eclipses, okay? And we're coming into some Scorpio energy with this eclipse, if I'm not mistaken. So, this is the secrets. This is the things that we went through and experienced, and maybe we didn't address. These are the things that we repressed, that we're ashamed of. Like, I know people like, look, I don't have time to be doing more shadow work. I don't have time to be, bringing up stuff that I don't want to deal with. It's too much on my plate. It's just, I got so much going on. I don't want to deal with it. And I get that because what I have found is that a lot of people who resonate with me, it's because you're either empathic, highly intuitive, on a journey of ascending through your trauma, or you have been called to be a healer, which means the energy affects you first. So if that's you, I'm on the sacred rebel side. My human design is that of a 3/5 manifesting generator. So I don't go with the flow of what everybody else is doing, what the world is doing, and what people say is, suitable and okay. And it's okay. I take a lot of pride in being able to go against the flow because I find that this hive mind that we're being drawn into, that's being created, it causes you will be self-conscious pretty much most of the day. And is this right? Do this look right? Am I doing this right? Am I making the best decisions? Like, for those of us who awaken, it started out fun, it did, and then it got real, and then it got more real. And a lot of us kind of backed up from our sacred practices. And so, if that's you, this is not the time to back away from your sacred practices. This is the time for you to go harder than you ever went before, as far as discipline, as far as commitment, and how you're going to treat yourself and show up for yourself, who you're going to be to yourself. All of this is about who you're going to be to you, because we can't be healers and we're not addressing what's happening within us. So, with this purge, I want y'all to realize that because we have lived in our heads so much, and because these ancient traumas are being broken loose, a lot of times our mental activity is magnetically attracting things into our reality we're actually karmically done with. And you know this because you feel very uncomfortable with certain behaviors, certain people, certain things. Maybe some people are not really sure about their career or their job. Like, all of this is being shaken up, and it's being shaken up so that we can get a better idea of who we authentically are, and to not be afraid to be that. What I foresee happening is that the earth is about to separate again, where the people who are making 5D choices is going to be very clear from the people who are still making 3D choices. And if you're new here and you don't know what the bifurcation of two earths is, while I'm talking about this split in consciousness, just go back and watch some of the other videos, and you can join my VIP group on Patreon, where I give them all of me that's possible to give. But the reason that community guidelines on every social media is changing is because they're finna clamp down again. And see, we're not new to this. We've been through this before. And so many of us went through this in the past life. And we're back to step fully into our power, to step into our office, to our strength. The goal, a lot of us live outside in, you know. So it's like whatever was happening on the outside of us, it dictated the temperament and the energy within us. And if you are highly empathic, telepathy is going to another level right now. So you want to make sure that you're in control of your mental space. And if you're having difficulty emotionally regulating, most likely it's because you haven't detoxed some of the stored trauma inside of your body. We need to be sweating. If you have a sauna, use the sauna. If you can walk, ride a bike, like find a way to sweat at least a couple of times a week. This is going to help you through this eclipse. We would also benefit from cleansing our blood. The blood holds the life force energy. And there are so many things that's in our environment now that attaches to us and becomes a very parasitic entity with the blood. Okay, so getting some herbs, some teas, and detoxing your blood, that's going to help you to have more emotional regulation, because we're going to see people. Let me see if I'm going to say this and how I'm going to say this. We're going to see people who have already been on the edge. They're going to feel like they can't take anymore. And this could even be you. You got to know how you're going to respond when you feel like you're being pushed to your edge. You have to make a plan. So detoxing the physical body is one thing that you can do. Controlling the thoughts that you marinate in, so you're not a vibrational match for these negative forces on the planet that feed off of our rage, our grief, our fear, our doubt. And I'm not saying not to feel those emotions fully, because feeling those emotions fully is actually what empowers you. So you want to take some time and be honest with yourself and say, have I been aligning myself with things I'm no longer in alignment with? And what inside of me drives me to do that? Is it something that I haven't processed? Is it something that I'm not honoring within myself. Because if it's not, you're going to attract people into your reality who will not be able to honor you, who will not be able to be in that space with you respectively to the person you're becoming. And these are people, like I said, we're going to see people really on the edge. I know October 4th came and went, and it kind of seemed like nothing really shook up or happened. But I'm telling you, there is a buffering time between these triggers. And a lot of us is just underneath the surface, and it's going to be purged. It's going to come out. If you are ready to tap into alchemy, that is going to be best done through any form of creativity. So this could be poetry, this could be music, this could be art, dance, singing, rapping. Like, don't sleep on creativity. Creativity will sustain you while we're going through this next purge, because this purge on planet Earth, we cannot take our burdens with us into higher consciousness. So these things have to come to the surface. It has to come out of us. If you have been called to be what I call a clear quartz creator, and that means that your essence was drawn to this planet at this time to purify certain consciousness, to cleanse your bloodline of certain patterns, and to be able to be an energetic frequency match to love, so that everywhere your feet touch, you affect that grid, you affect those ley lines. This is what we came here to do and be. So if you are noticing people around you, because the more you heal, the more you notice areas where you need to heal, and the more you notice people who also need to heal. So this is the third eye opening, where you're able to better see what you couldn't see before, and it's uncomfortable. And I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all some shit that's not real, because that is a lot of that happening now. And so many of us, I get it. People pleasing is something that's used in marketing. And if you're running a business and you're a spiritualist and you have most marketing companies, they're gonna basically teach you how to do that. I'm in a whole different frequency. So like I'm not gonna do that to y'all. I'm not finna get up here and act like everything is peaches and cream, because it's not. But that's okay, because we're equipped. And if you have things in your reality that cause you to feel ill equipped, this is the time now for you to invest and commit. Be disciplined. I know it's difficult, but sometimes you got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning so that you can do your yoga. Because if your body is tight and rigid, this eclipse is going to magnify that. So you want to be tending to your body now. Because if you get in a disagreement with somebody and you got tension and knots all in your body that you have not addressed, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, it's going to go left. And this is how the universe is teaching us how to take care of ourselves better. When you go into a conversation with somebody and you're relaxed, your nervous system it has been calmed, and you're more copacetic, you're not a vibrational match to drama. So it's not going to go there. Even if they go 0 to 60, you will retain the ability to not follow. This is how you become a leader. This is how you step into your power. And so many of us doubt our ability. So we don't invest in meditation. We don't invest in yoga. We got 1,000,001 reasons and excuses. If you scroll, I was reading research that says that most people scroll on social media for 2 hours out of the day, and it's only 24 hours in the day. That's 14 hours a week the average person is spending on social media. Y'all, this is an issue that must be addressed. You didn't come here to play. You came here to overcome, to win, and to be triumphant. You came here for the hero's journey. You came here for Heru's journey. You are here to learn how to be the alchemist you naturally are. And if you are scrolling and you're not fully in control and conscious of what you're doing, something else is communicating with your subconscious mind and you're subliminally being hacked on a subliminal level. So if you catch yourself doing that, I'm not perfect, but I know when I tap into my telepathy, clairvoyance, clairsentient, clairaudient, there is a different um energy that's not broadcasting itself on the top layer of whatever I'm looking at, and it's always something else. If it's not someone's intention, it could be an ill intention, it could be accidental, but I'm telling you, pay attention to how you feel, because you could be on there looking at something and before you know it, you feeling like you're disgusted with your life, and you just like, I'm so disgusted with my life, and you don't know where it's coming from. So, of course, you could have watched something that led to that emotion, but subliminal communication is always happening. See, what went down on October 4th was it was just a test to what's already been happening. And for those of you who are part of the VIP tribe, you already know what that is because I talked about that for about 2.5 hours on Patreon. So I say this because the ego is afraid to not have its space in our lives anymore. And I get it. It kept us safe for a long time. But comfort zones is not where we're safe now. And that's why I'm challenging you to come out of your comfort zone. If you don't do anything else, but spend 10 minutes stretching, just focusing on the areas where you tight, your temple is speaking to you. Like how are you going to change anything in your life and you ignore your own temple? You basically are communicating to your body, I don't love you enough to send to you. But I expect other people to love me and I expect other people to respect me and appreciate me, but I'm not respecting you. So you're out of alignment with harmonic frequency. So your vibrational match for the chaos that's being cultivated on this planet. And this is what we are being called to come out of. So I mentioned three things that you can do. This is tapping into your spiritual disciplines, listening to your body, stretching, yoga. I myself am going to get myofascial release, and it's been really, really transformational for me because I work with people and I'm empathic. When I do readings, I'm doing the reading as if I'm them and I'm experiencing everything they went through in their life, and I'm doing the reading that way. It's really different with what I do. So by me getting myofascial release, it's allowing me to release the trauma that sometimes I unintentionally absorb from my clients and even from my loved ones. It's not just me. We don't just absorb thoughts, we absorb people's energy as well. And, we're learning how to use these gifts. So you're not going to be perfect at first, and I don't really think it's a course out there that's going to teach you how to use all of the clairs, how to use your intuition, how to safely read the Akashic records, how to step out of that energy, how to be able to learn how to use your body to tune your emotions, to use your body to actually transform your mindset. Like, we've been doing stuff in the opposite way, and things now can go either way. So, myofascial release focuses on the fascia of the body, and the fascia to me is like these rubber bands that hold everything together. And a lot of what we are dealing with, whether it's tiredness, chronic pain, fatigue, just tightness, knots, all of these things, it comes from the posture. We're sitting at computers. We've been doing it for years. We're looking down at our phones, putting about 13 to 16 pounds of weight on our neck. This is interfering with the Kundalini rising energy that's coming in. And so we're short circuiting and we're more sensitive to people who are upset in that energy because of this. I hope I'm making sense to somebody. Like, can I get a ashe if some of this is starting to really resonate with you. And I have been troubleshooting these things, like what is happening. And I truly do invest into embodying everything that I speak about and teach here so that I can come to you and say, this is what I found from experience. Thank you, Mia. Yes, okay. Just want to make sure y'all here with me. All right. Because it's going to get rocky. So if you can't do myofascial release, there are plenty of videos where you can look it up. But this is a way that you can actually access things that you can't access with just your mind alone. And I'm telling you, thank you, Brandon. I'm telling you, I see you, Mystique. So I had so much grief. We're trying to open our heart chakra on top of all of this stuff, y'all. We have to tune our temples. Massage twice a month, same. I get massages, reflexology, acupuncture, and myofascial release. And I do those every month. Like, I'm not out here to play. I'm not out here to offer people something that has the illusion of power, but it actually lacks the capacity to change lives. That's not what I came to do. I didn't awaken in 2006 as a Christian to tell y'all everything that was going to happen today. And ain't nobody ever been able to discount any future vision that I gave up to this point. It's been undefeated because spirit, when spirit speaks, you can't, it's nothing you can do to prove anything wrong about that because that's the fabric of nature. So, this journey is very serious for me because a lot of us are suffering because of our lack of discipline, because of our lack of structure. Some of us have too much structure and need to just allow ourselves to let loose, be creative, and be free. Like, don't even think about it. I've been recording music and I just been freestyling and not thinking so much about every bar, every line, how I'm going to say it, and just allowing my soul to express itself. And, and so I've found that when I get out of my ego, when I get out of left brain logic reasoning, this is the masculine mind, I tap into a force that cannot be accessed with my left brain. And it's so powerful. And but back to what I was saying, there are disagreements that you had that you don't remember, and it's still stuck in your body. So when somebody bring a disagreement to you on a subconscious level, you are already putting your body energetically is already guarded because you're just like, I get hurt. I don't want to get hurt, you know? And when I was working with my coach, um, when I was working with my coach, she said, what do you do? And I told her what I do. And she said, this makes sense. She was just like, you're an energy healer. And so sometimes you take on that energy. And so we're going to release that. And I was like, where is it the most to you? And she started checking me out. And I could feel that it was just sitting on my chest. And so she said to me, she said, have you been betrayed? Have people come to you for help, but when you come to them, they're not there? Like, do you have certain things that you notice patterns in your life? I was like, absolutely. She says, because you're a giver. You give so much without really wanting anything in return that you attract people who take. And it was confirmation. That's what I've been writing in my book about that, because living as a highly sensitive person and an empath who experience so many forms of trauma, it's just been very difficult for me to release some of these experiences from my being. So meditation, petitioning, prayer, journaling, shadow work, like I do all of that pretty much every day. I might give myself a few hours off, but this is a lifestyle. It's not something I step into when it's, convenient. This is a lifestyle because I'm paying it forward. And so what you do for yourself is like a bank that you make investments in. Speaking of banks, like banks, I'm telling y'all, like things are going to be very different We're switching to energetic currency. So you want to clear your energetic grid of what's no longer serving you, because this eclipse is going to make you do it. So you might as well allow yourself to release what's not serving and to allow in what's meant to come in. But she was working with me, and my chest, I could feel the fascia in my chest. It felt like a rubber band had pulled as far as it could go, and it couldn't go any further. And so she, worked with me, my shoulders. I don't know if anybody else notices, but especially when you're highly empathic, shoulders, neck, and back is just speaking, right? And what I call discomfort or tightness or knots, that's speaking, right? That's communication. So we were working through this, and my energetic body was collapsed and my shoulders were rounded and forward. A lot of us have this forward head posture. If you don't know what that is, just do a search for it after this video and see if that's you. Do a couple of those exercises and see, because I'm finna say what I really want you to pay attention to. We've been trying to be heart led people, but we have been trying to use logic and our mental capacity to navigate this new world, and it don't work that way. So if your heart don't feel safe, if you have attracted situations, careers, projects, people, certain relationships, like with family, a lot of these things, and it's just not healthy for you, then your energetic body is going to take on the form of the pain that you're experiencing. And until you release it, you're like a walking magnet for just negative shit. And just, we think CERN is something. Like, the power of a human being alone, 6 subtle bodies, 7 chakras just to begin. Once you go to the star chakra and the earth star chakra, now you're up to 9, and it continues to go. But it can also be ego wanting to know. I want to know every chakra. I heard it was 152. Like, just pull back and stay with the basics and practice mastering the basics. Because I chase information, and so that's a comfort zone for me. But my ego loves to learn, and that's beautiful. But at some point, I have to embody. And so my body took on that feeling of not being safe, especially if you ever had somebody take what you said and turn it against you or use it against you later. Like, it's so many things that you can experience that will cause this. But because I didn't feel safe, I was forcing myself to feel safe. And so I was creating war inside of my own body. And the fascia tightens up to protect you. When she started loosening me, it felt like somebody was pulling my arms off, like detaching my arms from my chest. And it sounds a little dramatic, but that's how it felt to me. And it was because all of this was so tight. It had tightened up to protect me because I lived on guard. I lived in fight or flight. I never knew if I was going to be safe. There were times, I'm gonna tell y'all how extreme this is, and hopefully my really dramatic, terrible, or dark ass stories help you to see, like, you know what? I'm grateful for my life, because it could be worse. But for me, this is not just my upbringing. There were times where I was hospitalized and I had no family, no friends, nobody there with me. So many times that this happened. I'm calling people, nobody can come and visit me for a few hours or spend a night with me, because I would have nurses and or physicians, just anybody in the medical system. There was a spirit that will come up inside people sometimes, and I could clearly see it. And it was something that was very much an antagonist to everything that I represented on a spiritual level. And so it was a level of hatred. I had a nurse one time gave me 3 times the amount of medication I was supposed to take. And I woke up, it felt like I was swallowing my tongue. I knew something was wrong. They rushed me to ICU. Everybody was scared for my life. My respirations was down to like 9 per minute. So I'm only taking 9 breaths per minute. You should take at least 14 or more. I would say 17. That's the safe zone. And so this happened to me over and over again. I've had nurses write me letters saying that I was the devil. The shit was crazy. I was the patient that would get up every single day, walk around the hospital, pray for every patient on the floor, write poems and draw pictures to encourage people. People was wanting to give up. The hospital is like a pre-graveyard, like for real. It's spirits always in the halls, always in the hospital. And I can't tell you how many times I had to face death. And there were times where I was like, I know some of y'all might be like, okay, Khamsin, like I didn't know you did shit like that. But there were times where it would be a young person next to me, and I would see death walk past my door. They would always close our door to our room, but I would always open it. Oftentimes I would open it unless I needed some privacy. And so I would see death walk past my door. And then the whole time I'm doing this, I'm having these clinicians and these people that I'm supposed to trust, and they doing things like giving me saline instead of my medication in my IV, giving me things I'm allergic to, calling the on-call doctor, telling the on-call doctor I'm causing a ruckus, calling security on me. Like I'm not being loud, I'm not doing anything. It was the spirit. This is a spiritual warfare. What we see in people is just a suit, but there is something, a code operating in the simulation. And so I really did live through a lot of abyss experiences prior to becoming the version of Khamsin that I am today. That happens to be one of my specialties. Like you give me any dark situation, and I'm gonna bring some fucking light from it by any means necessary. It's gonna happen because I've been through so much, and I will always find that ray of light in situations. So would see death walk past my door because I had death sit at the foot of my bed many times. And so I would get up and I would go to that patient's room. I would knock. If they were okay with me coming in, I would come in. I would ask them, hey, are you okay with me praying with you? Like, do you have family? Do you have friends? A lot of times the answer would be no, nobody has come to visit me. Like the same stuff I was dealing with, where you calling people and people just not being there for you the way you thought they would be. And I got some stories. I say too. I got some stories about that too, but because this operates in systems as well, and this is what's being purged now, the systems, the government, like it, just sit back and watch and get your popcorn, do your spiritual stuff, get your popcorn, and you can actually find some enjoyment out of the knowing that you're here for a purpose during this time. It don't have to all be negative and dark. But death was a huge, I would say probably a 12-foot black smoke. You really couldn't see form or arms or leg, but you could definitely see head and body and shoulders. So I would go to that patient's room. I would sit with them, talk with them, if I had the energy to do it. Because a lot of times I had PIC lines in my arms. That's like this long metal catheter with a coating on it that they put inside of you to give you IV fluids, blood transfusions, things like that. So when I could, I would rub their hands or do some minor body work on them. And a lot of times I would leave and people would be, their spirit would be uplifted. And then I would see death leave, and I could relax after that. So I would go back to my room. And when I say see death leave, usually I would see death on the way. But when death left, it was more so a feeling of lightness would come in. And because I've had insomnia most of my life, like after I got molested at age 7, ever since then I've had insomnia. So I was just like, I'm gonna use this shadow aspect of my experience to help other people. So I'm gonna be on night watch, right? Um, through all of this, through all of this, and I'm saying this for a reason. Life is best lived being good to yourself, as good to yourself as you can possibly be, even if that means somebody don't get your goodness anymore. If you are giving more than you're receiving, this eclipse is going to be redirecting you to give to yourself more, because you can't be out of balance with nature and expect the things that you expect to come into your life. So even through this time, I was giving until I couldn't give anymore. Until I just got in a space where I didn't even feel like I was capable of being what I would call a good person. I was like, it's something wrong with me. No matter how much I give and love and do what I can to help people, there are always these situations and people that come into my life that see me as this villain. And I didn't know at the time that I was a three-fifth manifesting generator who has this heretic energy where I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm not following the hive mind. I want to learn for myself. No, no, no. I don't want a book to tell me the instructions for life. I need to experience this. That's my teacher. And so the energy, y'all have to realize that sometimes it's not the people, it's always the energy. It's always about the programs. Y'all see me talking about toxic masculinity a lot, toxic femininity, but I'm not speaking against people. I'm speaking against the codes of these programs. So because I was giving so much, I was depleting my life force, so I was a vibrational match for these things. So it wasn't that I was a bad person. And what happened was I tried so hard to calm the voices in my mind about me being a bad person by being in service to other people. I stopped taking care of myself until I literally lost myself and what I thought was my purpose in life. I don't know who I'm speaking to, but it happens. And you can bring yourself back to life. This eclipse is going to help us to bring ourselves back to life. That's only if you let go. Because if there is a lot of resistance, the the polarized aspect of the wounded energies that maybe you are not aware of or aren't open to working through, or maybe don't believe that you have the ability to work through it, that's going to be amplified. And the universe is not doing it to hurt us. The universe is a teacher. The universe is teaching us how to be balanced energy healers who don't give when their cup is empty. And there are people who will press on you like no matter how much you do is not enough. And that happens. And it's because we run ourselves empty. We run on fumes and get depleted. And then we upset when people expect for us to keep moving the way we've always moved. They don't know what's going on energetically within our body. It's our responsibility to know. So as we are becoming more aware of these things, you want to have your list. What is your go-to? What are you going to focus on during this time? Like you cannot, don't wait till shit hit the fan and then try to figure it out. Sit down now, write down your intentions. Don't go into the next day without deciding, what am I going to do with my energy tomorrow? How much am I going to give? And how much am I going to invest in taking care of myself? What am I going to do if I get into a conflict with my boss? What am I going to do if I get into a conflict with my children? If I get into a conflict with my partner? Write it down. What are you going to do? Because if you do not choose what you are going to do, there is always an energy, always an entity that is willing to take over your consciousness for you and use your subconscious programs that are already in place to determine how you respond or react. And if this is happening to you, you're creating in your life from a space of being in survival mode. So you will always be in survival mode. And it will be difficult to manifest abundance, prosperity, peace, happiness. See, happy people don't happen because they just became happy. Like there is a way to proactively become happy, and that's by being grateful for what you have now, what you can do now with already what's in your power leads to happiness, even if the world is going up in flames. Okay. Too. Yeah, same here. We're going against the grain. Realize I was one of primary light anchor not long ago. Cycles all over the place trying to manipulate me. So, this is why I said what I said. This is not, look, if you get into polarization and you think that this game of life is about figuring out what's the issue outside of you and dealing with it, you're doing things in reverse. Go within and sit with yourself again, see what's going on within yourself, scan yourself. Okay, decide what you're going to do in certain situations, and then when the opportunity presents itself, do that. Lean into the higher mind. When I talk about two earths, when we navigate our life with the lower nature, the animal nature, the lower chakra, survival mode, root chakra, wounded inner child, that consciousness lives in the root chakra, sacral chakra energy that may not be balanced, especially for a lot of us women. If you resonate with codependency, then usually your sacral chakra is not flowing the way it's supposed to. So you attract people who, no matter how much you give, will feel like you're not giving and doing enough. Okay. And the solar plexus, again, like my heart chakra had collapsed from a lot of the pain and the grief and the trauma that I realized people were experiencing, but sometimes they don't even know that that's what's happening to them. So I had taken on a lot of that. So if you're making choices from the lower mind, then that's where you're gonna manifest and experience in your life and your reality. And sometimes we are so afraid to make choices and decisions, we don't make any. And when you don't make any, you're still making a choice. You're choosing to allow that thing in your life to crystallize itself. So it's not going to change until you choose to be different. And this is learning how to find your inner Ashe, your inner power. Okay. So because food is expensive, because prices of rent, mortgage, like everything is going up, so people are living in their lower mind. People's nervous systems is not regulated. People are afraid of how I'm going to survive, what I'm going to do, and not saying that it's not rightfully so, because I get it. I'm still in this 3D plane as well. You want to catch that. If it starts to happen, even if maybe you're having a better mindset, but somebody around you isn't, like you want to put a little bit of sacred space in between you and them and practice the art of healthy detachment. And this is not something where you're being mean or uncaring, unloving, because I had all of these thoughts in the beginning before I got to this point in my awakened journey. But this is you saying, I honor you as a sovereign being to think or feel however you choose. And I'm stepping back so that you can have your own experience because you're on your own sacred journey. And you don't have to necessarily tell them, but this is the thought. This is the higher mind consciousness of that. We got to pull away from trying to change people, trying to control people's destiny. That right there is creating more suffering than the prices of escalation and everything that's happening with the economy, with politics, with the government. Like, how are you governing yourself? Like, okay, the government doing this, doing that. A lot of times it's a reflection of the way we're governing ourselves on a collective level. So these are some things that you can keep in mind with this upcoming eclipse energy. And remember, like, come back to this video if you need to. Like, what were the things she said to try? And let me give you a couple more things that's coming up. Mm, when I finally started releasing a lot of that, um, you're gonna have to feel some pain to get to where it is that you deserve to be. Because there are two types of pain. There is a pain that's necessary for healing to take place, and there's a pain that exists because we are resisting healing. So whether I went to get myofascial release done or not, I was experiencing pain, but the pain that I was feeling was the resistance, me using my willpower to push myself physically and energetically to get things done, but my body was not in alignment to support me. So I had to choose, which pain am I going to experience, the pain of growth or the pain of stagnancy? And this eclipse is going to help us to identify the areas where maybe the pain of growth is what you're being guided to. The pain of stagnancy is so uncomfortable to someone who's called to transcend the 3D matrix. So all pain is not negative. I would even say that all pain can actually lead to purpose and power with the right tools, with accountability, because for so many of us, our inner child is going to be triggered during this time, okay? Activated, right? We're going to be more aware of some of the stuff that happened to us in second grade, third grade, and it might be subconscious. You might even feel like people are bullying you when actuality, that bully consciousness inside of you is projecting itself out onto people in your life just to get you to see it. Because again, we have been so two eye focused because a lot of things that have happened, that the inner eye, the third eye, the first eye that looks within, like it's closed. So, yes, things are going to happen in your life just to show you what's happening inside. So, with this eclipse mantra that will get you through, none of this is personal. And I have the power within myself to overcome everything and anything. Nothing is personal. Lean into the breath with the affirmations. I have the power to overcome anything. Speak to yourself so positively with so much love that the frequency of what's happening in your life, it has no choice but to take on a more supportive form. Yes, it takes time. It might take 2 weeks to have a breakthrough. It might take 2 months. The 5D consciousness is supporting people who are willing to invest the time. Delay gratification for a while, y'all. I know we be looking for comfort. We be looking for stuff to make us feel better, but just delay gratification for a little while and say, I'm going to meditate every day. I'm going to do it. The ego will make it complicated. The ego will be like, if you're not meditating at least 20 minutes, it's not going to work because so and so said. The ego do that. That's okay. Be like, okay, ego, it's all right. I'm going to start where I can and I'll work my way up to 20 minutes, okay? We can find a happy medium, right? In between this. And so start with 5 minutes. I call it the 5-5-5. And comment and let me know if you go try this, because I'm gonna check back in the comments and see. But 5-5-5, I've almost been on here an hour, and I do have things I need to tend to, so let me wrap up. So spend 5 minutes in meditation If voice guided meditations work best for you, record it with your own voice. We have the technology to do it now. So record yourself saying something that you would like to plant in your consciousness as a seed to bring forth harvest later. Delay gratification for 5 minutes. If you can't find something positive to say for 5 minutes just off top of your head, that's okay. Sit down and write it down or watch some of my videos and come up with what resonates for you and create your 5 minutes of meditation. Record it and listen to it each morning so that you're using the frequency of your own soul to help modulate the energies that are coming as we're receiving these light body activations. Okay, because your DNA go do what it do. All right, it's gonna do what it do. But we want to make sure that we're being supportive of these activations happening within our cellular code. So spending 5 minutes, listen to your own voice, because a lot of us listen to the inner critic way more than we listen to the inner positivity. And if that's happening, you're misaligned. And yes, you're going to have more negative experiences in your reality. So spend 5 minutes listening to that. Spend 5 minutes and tend to your body. If your shoulder's tight, find a video. If you're confident that you're intuitive enough to just work with your body on your own, feel into it and see what it is that you need to do. And do that. Give that love to yourself. Okay? Just 5 minutes. I'll put a energy medicine routine that I do on the community tab as soon as I'm done. And it works from the crown to the root, and it's also accessing your meridians where you can actually pull the stagnant energy out of your body. Because a lot of us are doing the work, but we're not clearing the stagnant energy, and we don't know how to clear our meridians. And these are these circuits of currents that flow through us electromagnetically. So this is all about the masculine and the feminine coming in unity and oneness. So you want to work with the meridians to be able to really access your higher potential. So I'm going to put that on the community tab. 5 minutes tending to your temple. And that next 5 minutes, spend that next 5 minutes, if you have time, if you can, because I know how it is. Sometimes we just don't have the time. But if you can, spend that next 5 minutes speaking to yourself in the mirror. Whatever it is you decided you're going to do, if you run into any difficulties or challenges through the day, remind yourself in the mirror, like, this is what we're doing today. This is how we're going to deal with this. If something happens and it seems like it's going down, going south, and it doesn't feel like it resonates, then choose how you're going to deal with it. For those of us in relationships, our relationships are being tested only to help us to improve, right? This is not some type of destruction. The universe just hate us, and because sometimes we can often feel like we're in spiritual attacks, and it doesn't mean that we're not. But if you think about that so much, you can get stuck in that consciousness, and that's a victim consciousness, which actually invites more energies to cause you to feel weak, incapable, and that you can't trust yourself. It's a victim mentality. So spend 5 minutes and say, this is what I'm going to do. Now, this is my favorite. You can remix this however you like. But for me, what I do, because I know it's going to be challenging sometimes, especially when you're doing the work, your frequency will purge stuff around you that's not in alignment, just so you can be aware of it, see it, and get some practice. So I acknowledge that any situation that has a frequency of drama, um, pessimism, worry, fear. Like, if I run into this and it's outside of me and someone else, then I say, I'm going to take a step back, and I will respond to you later when I feel that I can in the highest honor. of love. That's it. You don't have to get into arguments. You don't have to be in constant disagreements. You could even say, if someone has, if people bring problems to you, and they feel like you are supposed to help them fix it, because like I said, being an empath, especially if you're recovering codependent, people pleaser, your trauma created a personality to always be there for people and not really look out for yourself. They don't know that you're not looking out for yourself and probably don't care, and that's okay. It's like not a judgment, it just is what it is. And so you could say, even though that you think I'm capable of solving this for you, I trust that you are. I'm going to take a step back, and I trust that you're going to work it out. And if there's anything that I can do for you later, I'll let you know. And this is compassion with boundaries. Okay? So be compassionate when you're enforcing your boundaries, because a lot of people are having a really hard time with life right now. It don't have to be that way. But until we become more responsible for the way we respond and react, for the energy that we create, then this is what it is. And we can shift this. All right. So hi from Argentina. Hello. So don't focus on changing people and changing your environment. Shift your focus to what I can do within my own power, my voice, my breath, tuning my body, my mindset, and the way that I react. Those 5 things you can always control. And you will find that you aren't pressed as much about trying to fix people and control people. So I think that this is what's going to help us. If you got plants, tend to your plants. If you don't get a plant, sometimes you need something to care for. We live inside these square homes and square shapes and sacred geometry. Like, you don't see squares in nature. Even in astrology, squares is like you got to make a decision. You know what I'm saying? It might be detrimental if you don't. So bring some nature around you. If you have pets, spending time with your pets is going to be absolutely helpful. Spending time in nature, of course. So I've given you so many things that you can do. And I also offer that if you, sometimes we do better when we have accountability, or if we have someone who show up every day to help guide us through that day. I know sometimes that's why I hire coaches and buy courses, because I tend to be more proficient in my ability to be committed and disciplined when I have that accountability, or if I paid for it. If I'm getting something for free, sometimes I'm just not going to invest the energy into it. And it's so much I want to get into, but I'm not, because it's multiple timelines merging right now. And so the decisions that you're making or not making determine what your experience is and which timeline you're on. And so if your desire is to live your dharmic life, and this is the timeline of the choices that you have made in alignment with divinity, in alignment with spirit, and it creates a more harmonic life, versus the life that you were given because of beliefs that you inherited and values. Like, all this is going to be purged, y'all. Like, don't feel like you crazy if you start questioning everything in life. Existential crises is just a part of the awakening journey. But again, have your tools. So if you need help with that, you can check out, first of all, if you're into ceremonies and rituals and being able to do something every day for 30 days to have a breakthrough. That's the 3D Matrix Detox course, where I went into the Akashic Records, gathered information. I studied many different spiritual systems, and I found what seemed to be the most effective, not just for me, but for everybody who's participated in anything that I've done. And it's thousands of people now that have had success with these things. So the 3D Matrix Detox course, that's for people where you Neo, and you ready to level up, you ready to tap into those codes of being able to not only see through the matrix, but you actually learn how to respond to what's happening in the matrix in a way where you're able to be better supported through your journey. So that's the 3D Matrix Detox course. If you have any form of religious trauma, religious pain that may be coming up as well, that course is meant to help you work through that. I had so much religious trauma, and I didn't even know how much I was hurting because of some of the teachings in religion. And then one of them was the turn the other cheek. I had turned the other cheek so much that I had a lack of self worth. And I felt like it was my responsibility to be a martyr, to be a sacrifice, and to just allow people to walk all over me. And again, this was subconscious. I didn't even realize I was doing it. I didn't even know who I was. I had a personality that was created by trauma and me trying to avoid it. So that's there. It's a lot of shadow work in there, mirror work in there, ceremonies, meditations. It's all there for you. The inner child healing course, the lower three chakras, I will give you a reading every day to just help you guide you through your day. And those are anywhere from 10 to 13 days. And the reason why I made it short like this, that way, because sometimes if you're not used to showing up and doing something every day, it's difficult. So, if you get a course or something and you got to invest 6 months before you see an outcome, if you're clearing, ancient trauma like most of us are, that's kind of so far ahead. You're not probably won't finish it. You might start and not finish. I know some of y'all resonate with this. You might procrastinate. So my goal is to put as much as possible in the smaller compartments because time is speeding up, right? So that's there. And then if you want to have some help with meditation and using many forms of meditation, metacognition, rescripting your life, being able to catch thoughts in the moment, the 10-day meditation challenge and the OBB challenge, which is the out of brain experience that I teach. Basically, I teach you how to travel out of your emotional body and perceive what's happening from a detached place to be able to work through your own frequencies that's showing up for you. So that's in the OBB challenge. It's just 7 days. All of these courses and challenges are in my description box. So any video that I've already uploaded, you will see it there. And for those of you who want to stay in the know and want to know like what's going on energetically that Khamsin cannot talk about on YouTube, that's on Patreon. So many things on there. And it ain't just me on there. It's a lot of powerful people that I have connected with who are also there. And I really want to talk more about the Kundalini sexual energy, which is creativity, that's short circuiting because of the stress, because of a lot of things that we experience. A lot of us have been having sex to try to fill in voids inside of us, which means that's vampiric and it's parasitic, it's being an energy taker. So that's another conversation for another time. I will be getting into more of that soon. I did put a 10-minute video up, which is directed towards sexually transmuted and transmitting trauma, because that's what we were doing. We were so focused on STDs that we weren't even paying attention to like, but what kind of energy am I consuming? And what kind of energy am I allowed to enter into me? Right. So for a lot of women, I've been saying like, your womb is going to be purged either way it go, but it's really good to have a lifestyle where you're creating that safe space for your purging to occur. And a lot of us have been bleeding excessively, bleeding too long, too much. And it has a lot to do with not being in that natural order. I believe that people with womb spaces are naturally born to be alchemists and high priestess, and they're very empathic because we have to be. But if you've been absorbing these energies from every partner you ever been with, and you haven't cut those etheric cords on all levels of your six subtle bodies, working through the chakras, that's going to be coming up and circulating back to you right now just to call your attention. And as women, when we bleed every 28 days on average with the moon, we're releasing what could have been children that wasn't. And so that is a form of sacrifice, not in a wicked, like, evil, insidious way, but it's okay. We have absorbed all of this, and what we're purging now from our uterine lining and those eggs that were not fertilized, that life force energy goes out into source and can create more life. When you're sensitive enough to yourself and you learn how to direct it. So because a lot of us just didn't know our worth, we created relationships that was based on filling in voids, and those relationships are definitely going to be challenged right now, but it's beneficial because you can learn so much about yourself, not the other person, about you. Focus on you. Focus on your evolution, how you're improving, where you're not, and what can I do to support this new way of being with myself. And this is why we use the term new verse, because you're writing the verses to the song your soul came to sing. It might sound corny, but that's what you came to do. So write those new verses, embrace the new you, create ways to support the new mindsets. And I'm telling y'all, after we get through this eclipse on into November, no matter how much chaos is happening in the world, no matter how many countries are choosing to go to war, no matter what's happening with government, if you use this video as a guide in the courses and resources, I have over 100 blogs with many spiritual, metaphysical things, how to use things, what they're for, and we have a metaphysical store. So it's a one-stop shop for spiritualists. So go and check that out and look around. Start getting your artillery ready, be prepared, because we can't stop this from happening. It's necessary, okay? But you can create peace within yourself that's going to be reflected in your environment, and you will be able to have sacred space, and you won't have to be so concerned with things coming into your being and into your life that are destructive unnecessarily. All right. So I'm going to get off here now. Yeah, so, crystals give off a more refined energy if they're spiritual. That's very true. Most of the crystals that's on the website are spiritual. And I talk about that in the blog as well. But I'm going to get off of here, y'all. I'm sending y'all love. Go to New Verse Live. Check it out. Get ready. And come back to this video if you need to. And I'm going to check back and see like who's trying this out. How is it working for you? And I would love to hear your biggest takeaway. And for those of you who gave donations, thank you so much. I don't want to be the kind of person where, it's like, oh, I'm struggling and I'm always struggling. It's not that. But I'm so ambitious, and I'm so geared to be in service, then sometimes I give more than really I have to. So for those of you all who feel like we have been a support to you here, and you give back, I want to just extend a huge thank you, and I honor you. I appreciate that because we are supported by our community. And be on the lookout for some new music. I got some hot things my soul's been cooking to help people access that higher potential aspect within them. Namaste, Numi, stay.